Well, hey everybody, this is American Nana. I didn't plan to do a live. I planned on just doing a little recording and then posting it, but time is just something that I just don't seem to have enough of. So I'm just going to do a live real quick, and I'm going to give my opinions about the Brian Walsh case. First, let me say I really and honestly had no intention of watching this trial. I knew the charge, and um, I had heard a few things, but I never dug into any of the in-depth information. So, the trial, though, on the very first day when I was watching it with Emily D. Baker, of course, just sucked me right in, and I was just really gobsmacked about so much, especially the defense opening statement, because I kept thinking that, first of all, because of the opening statement, I thought, well, so Brian Walsh is going to have to testify, because if he doesn't, then everything that the attorney said in the beginning, in the opening, um, is just a story. It's just telling a story because it's not proof. And the way that he talked about having experts and explaining sudden death, or those whatever terminology he chose to use at the time. Oh, hey, Duck Duck. I thought I would try to do a live real quick because I was going to do a video. I already said this, but I'll say it again. I was going to just do a video, but then I probably wouldn't have had it posted until like 3 months later. So while it's halfway fresh on my mind, I thought I would come and give my opinions. Now, I will say I am surprised that Brian Walsh decided not to testify. And the reason that I say that is I think that he's just low enough. He's just enough of a snake scumbag to think that people actually believe the garbage that he spits out, is basically my thought on that. I watched him during the trial, and even listening, when you listen in the early days of supposed um oh, well, see, Proctor didn't even testify. That Proctor nor uh Buchanan, neither one of them testified, and they didn't need them. I mean, even though they're pieces of garbage. But I will tell you, Duck Duck, the the judge in this case, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Control of the courtroom. She has to be absolutely respected by people that practice in front of her, because she is fair, she's knowledgeable, and I found it so refreshing to know that there are judges, or at least one judge in Massachusetts, that seems to practice according to what one would expect a judge to act like. And after watching Beverly Cannoni, um, and basing my opinion on judges in Massachusetts off of her, it was so refreshing. She's an absolutely wonderful judge. And although the prosecution, they did their job well, you also found that in Massachusetts, the state police aren't all inept, because they had a lot of them testify, including they did their own DNA test. And, the saddest thing watching this trial is to know that there are people in Massachusetts that do have integrity that are in the law field that just knowing what John O'Keefe deserved as far as an investigation and knowing what he got as far as an investigation, um, very disheartening. But it was disheartening back when it happened, so that's not a shock, right? Um, John O'Keefe deserved a lot more. He deserved to be treated as a human being that lost his life and without all the garbage that was put out there. And when you watch this trial, it makes you even more aware of how horrible Canoni and her kangaroo court was, in my opinion. So, I still hope one day all those people pay one way or another. And we know, I mean, they will because there's karma. Um, but in a way that we would see, like being sent to jail or just losing all their friends. I don't know. But just, I feel it's coming. I hope it does. I know Karen Reed is in for a major, major battle in what she's going through. But I hope that in the end it's successful because those people need to be brought down. And I hope that happens. But Brian Walsh, I was just, I don't know, speechless to hear that he was going with the story that he after a night of celebration, he and his wife go to bed, kind of insinuates there was some intimate time there. Just, I don't know. It just leaves the insinuation because why do you go to bed for an hour, then you get up and go clean the kitchen? But then he comes back to bed, and for some reason, he just felt like he needed to shake his wife and get her attention and get her to say something. That made no sense to me. I get up throughout the night. When I come back to bed, I don't stir my husband. Um, the other thing is he and then to expect that he shook her and he shook her, and then she falls off the bed, and so he freaks out basically in a panic, doesn't know what to do. So he Googles how to get rid of a body. He tried to figure out how to get blood off a knife. I'm not sure what I was just hearing. I'm sorry. And the blood off the knife, well, we know that's got to be the one that he just put so many chemicals on it. Looked like it was, back in the olden age or something. It would have been nice if they would have had the other knives to show that. Wow, and I live in Texas. Oh my gosh, no. Um, just a second. Anyway, to actually think people would buy that and then to constantly try to talk of how much he loved his wife, which I'm not I don't get that at all because how do you even think of getting rid of the body? Much less how could you do what you have to do to that body to get rid of it and yet claim that you love that person? That's impossible. So have you ever heard about the Robert Durst case in Texas, 2003, where he pled guilty of dismembering his neighbor Morris Black's body, but not his murder. Wow, I'm in Texas, so I'm gonna have to Google that. If I did, I don't remember it. So that's wow. Okay, so I'm gonna try to stay on point just a little duck duck just because I do have thoughts. I want to get them out. It's almost 1 a.m. We yesterday we had the great grandbaby from I don't know, my daughter gets her about 7 a.m., but we ended up having her for an extended period of time because my granddaughter ended up needing to go to the ER. She's fine, but so her mom came and got her and took her to the ER, and we saw the grandbaby. And then today we had the grandbaby, of course, and then rush, rush, rush because my daughter's youngest, she's in pre-K, and she had a little program at school that we attended. Then we went to eat. Then we came home, and in the last few days, I've been doing a whole lot of present wrapping. I think I've wrapped probably 25 presents so far. Um, and I'm just afraid that my brain will just stop with my thoughts. Like I was talking to my husband outside a while ago that I'm like, what were we even talking about? I was like, what were we even talking about? So the things that bother me about I guess because I can't even there is no way to get my brain to comprehend wow. So my internet or StreamYard, I don't know what it is. He didn't seem concerned. Now, the video where he took his son with him shopping, I think I think anybody would be like, "You cry." The grin on his face, the you could just feel the evilness, in my opinion, that was behind him. Does that make sense? It was like it was just oozing out. Then you find out that he's doing this shopping using the store credit that his wife got. So you can't, I mean, he's twisted in ways that you can't even, I can't even wrap my brain around it. And the way that they talked about, well, they had all this money, so it had nothing to do with money. I beg to differ with you. It wasn't his money. I guess you could say it was their money because they were married, but how much access was he really having to what Anna was earning? Um, and the selling of the property, I believe, was just in her name, and she was going to reinvest. So there's not, I don't know. To me, there's a lot of hype that he was wanting to be, a big fancy rich man. She was a very beautiful woman. And, there was a part when her friend that used to be her boss, Jim, between him and I can't remember the other one, if it was Amanda or Ashley or I don't remember her girlfriend, but between those two witnesses, the tears just in my eyes. And then when you watch Jim leaving the court and all of these reporters are trying to follow him and ask him questions, and all I could think of is, did you not see this man on the stand? Because literally how he maintained his composure had to be so hard. Had to be, I mean, he broke my heart. He loved her as one would a family, as he said, and he called it right from the get when, he said that Brian called him about her missing, and he's like, "And you haven't called the cops? You haven't done anything? You haven't notified anybody?" Nobody does that. Exactly, exactly, when you're like to dismember the body of the mother of your children, how long did it take? And the fact that those children had to have been in that home during some of the time he was, well, she was there, but no longer alive. And that breaks my heart. It just, and not knowing where the children are, I've read that the grandmother had them for a bit, the state took them, then her sister in Canada had them for a bit, yet she gave them back. And all I can, these poor children. But when you look at Brian Walsh, he doesn't he doesn't love his children. This man doesn't know what love is. There is no way. And his mother looks just about as evil as he is. So I can, oh, sorry, my eye itches. It's horrible. And then you watch him when he goes shopping and he doesn't even know how to use the self-checkout, right? Nowadays, you don't know how to use the self-checkout. Very needy. Is it that he's needy or he thinks that he's just too good for that and so other people should do it for him? He does have a little prissy pot way that he walks around. When you watched him walk, wasn't it rather prissy? I watched him walk and I thought, wow, I don't see what she would have seen in him. I don't. And unless it was money and that he was, and glitz and but one would think that she really did love him. It seemed like she really did love him from everything that you hear. But how long do you remain in love with someone that has put your family in the situation that he put his family in by his other crimes? And yet he didn't want to go to prison. He was doing everything he could to not go to prison, which meant that the children needed to be residing in Massachusetts so that he could claim he was being their care provider, which he had a nanny and he had a daycare. And we don't even want to talk about his house arrest or confinement or whatever, because literally he was all over town just doing whatever because it wasn't GPS monitored. That bothers me as just for anyone to be able to, when you think someone is safe or you're safe from them because they have been, confined to their home for the crimes they've committed against people, yet they can just wander all around, makes absolutely no sense to me. And there was a lie in the fact that he claimed that he had reservations for New Year's for them to go out. And you heard from the probation officer that, yeah, no, they don't grant permission for people to go to restaurants. That's just, I mean, it's like he just still wanted to be able to continue to do whatever he wanted, I guess. I don't know. But I can't I mean, I don't know, is he a sociopath or is he a psychopath? He has no feeling. Did you and if you watched him in the courtroom, so often he was laughing and joking with his female attorney, and I'm like, "Oh, you are just disgusting, vile human being." I mean, um, sorry, it's like I have hair in my eye or something. I I couldn't get over that. I was like, "Ugh." And yeah, watching him walk in those videos was just it was just disgusting. I am confused. I'm confused as to whether or not, and I'll find this out tomorrow when everybody else does, but I was confused on whether the judge said that he could or could not talk about unexplained death. Um, because there is no evidence of that in this case. And the only evidence that he had is he happened to ask what was it, not the coroner, but the person that did the autopsy, that doctor, about the sudden unexpected death. And just because sudden unexpected death exists doesn't bring it in as proof. In my mind, it doesn't. Um, as far as the investigation, it was pretty thorough. I mean, it, it was a good investigation. They are capable of doing that in Massachusetts. So that really was refreshing to know, yet it was also disappointing to know that they have people of this caliber and chose to use none of what they had available when it came to Officer John O'Keefe. And I kept going back to it in my mind, I guess, because it was in the same courthouse. So that bothered me. That was really disappointing. But in the other breath, it was good to see that there are some normal people that do work in law enforcement, or at least they appear normal, I guess is the word. Um, I just I'm gonna have to hear the I'm gonna have to hear the instructions on how you can get to premeditated, but in my opinion, from what I saw, if I was sitting on the jury, I'd walk in, let's do a straw vote and, or, let's just see where we stand, and I'd be 100% guilty. All the way. I mean, I don't care if he premeditated it within 5, 10 minutes or if it was within days. But I do feel that he planned to do it because, and his attorney kept bringing up the search on the cell phone and, well, they could have gone back further. And why didn't they go back further? Why didn't they get more? Why didn't they this? Well, if you listen to, I had listened to something previous, and it was about, or maybe it was even during the trial, but no, I think it was something different. But his attorney allowed, because they were talking to his attorney in the federal case, and they did give permission for the extraction of certain phones and iPads, but they were specific on dates. So, and I believe he had gotten a new phone. But just by saying that you've lost your phone, that in itself right there, because I I don't buy that either. This man who had to know what his wife was doing at all times, um, and his mother. I mean, there's something weird about this him and his mom. It just gives a really weird vibe to me. I wouldn't doubt if she helped. I mean, maybe he at least took the children over there and let them stay with her. But no, she had just had some kind of surgery, cataract surgery or something. It's just been one of the most, it's like trying to even talk about it, I jump all around because it just jumps all around. It's like, he says this, he does that, but and when you track it with what the Commonwealth laid up against him, um, I don't see how anybody, as I said, I'm not sure about the terminology that's used for murder one, um, but I do hope that um, it's a fast verdict. I would think it would be because she's gone. Another thing that got me is if they were in bed and she passed, yet they found her clothing that he said that she was wearing, or parts of it that she was wearing when she left, because we know that was a lie and she didn't leave. But technically, shouldn't she have like been in pajamas? There was an insurance policy for Anna, from her work, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, double a year's salary, and her yearly salary, I believe, was like 210,000 a year, maybe a little more, but she could also get bonuses. So, and it was for him and the boys. I'm sorry, I have a headache. Um, so, and then they had some that, I believe that they got, at market shopping, market value. So I don't know how much else, but from what it appeared to me in listening, and they didn't go into the financials real deep, but it did appear to me that Anna had her own properties for investment, not necessarily her and him. So I think Anna was pretty well off, and I think Brian pretty much rode her coattails, if that makes sense. I mean, he was a crook, we know that. I'm doing a little digging into him, so, not that my videos get much view, but I'm gonna do a video on him because he truly is a piece of work. Um, but I think that his love for money and material things knows no bounds. He wants to be this highfalutin, you know, rich person and gives that persona to people. And he's anything but, or he thinks he's better. Hang on, I need a drink of coffee. I'm sorry. I'm, I'm just a mess tonight, aren't I? I apologize. I don't like to drink with, I don't want you to hear me. Um, but I think one of the biggest reasons that he unalived her, I know I don't guess you're supposed to say the M word. I don't know. I Why does it matter, right? I don't. But I think that part of what happened was I think Anna told him, "That's it. The boys are coming to live with me in DC," and gave him a time. Let alone the fact that when her friend said that he always asked Anna how much she loved him. I mean, that's just how much do you love me? I mean, did he need to be patted on the back all the time for everything? But yet he didn't reciprocate and tell her how much he loved her. And then for them to say that he was not a jealous person, I don't buy that for 5 seconds. I think that you have to worship the ground the man walks on, in my opinion. And she probably did. Like I say, I don't. There's nothing about him that would have interested me if I was young enough to have been in the market. Does that make sense? He just, to me, he's like, he's too prissy and he's way too tied up on money. I mean, it would be nice as far as income. Oh, I wish that we had had life a little different and that my husband wasn't, having to still work and um, we could have retired or whatever. But when you take people like that, like him, who they have all this money and then they do all these illegal things because they don't get their money honestly, but yet his wife was a hard worker and earned a really, really good living. She didn't need him anymore. Now, I don't know what I would think that what she made would be a decent living in Washington, D.C. Um, but I don't know because I live in Texas. I don't know all the different things, but I mean, to me, if you're making over 200,000 on top of that, you get bonuses. I think that she would have been fine putting the kids in daycare and having a nanny in DC as well. So I think that she was letting him know that no more. She maybe she didn't tell her the man she was involved with. I can't remember his name, but maybe she didn't tell him that she had decided because she wanted to tell Brian first. So, oh my God, there's my bestie who's leaving me. Yeah, I'm almost finished, and all I'm doing is rattling. Hey, Duck, Duck, this is my bestie right here. She and I, it is so funny. We are true crime buffs, and we have so much in common. And she bakes the best cakes and cupcakes, and that is her ice cream for buttercream. That is her YouTube channel, and she can teach you how to make the bestest cake and cupcakes. And now that she's moving, I don't guess I don't guess I get them anymore because she's moving too far away. I hadn't thought of that yet. Anyway, what are you still doing up? It's 1:30 almost. But I've just been rattling. Duck, duck, she comes every time I do a live. I was trying to go on and try to remember all the different things that I was saying just bothered me because I'm just baffled over this. I don't know how their closing can be. I'm confused on how they can do it. I was teasing. I'm not going to miss you because of that, but we really do. Um, Yeah, it does. That's it right there. Do you know, I listened to something that was done on him the other day, and it was really interesting because they say something about him being like a foodie, and he would go into these restaurants, and that he would arrange for dinners that were like eight and $12,000. Those type of dinners, and sometimes not be able to pay for them, or, one time he had to leave a watch, that was, I guess, worth thousands of dollars. And that's the other thing. During the trial, it's not, oh, she had a black bag or a black jacket. It was the name brand of whatever she had, you know. I don't know my name brands. I mean, if it comes from Target, does that have a name brand? Or Walmart? Or, JC JC Penney's? This I don't pay much attention to where things come from or how much they cost, but he apparently did. And the fact that they tried to get in the information about the ring that he bought her being over $100,000, it's like it's like, "Really? So you're out spending her money, do you understand that? When you say you're gonna go buy her a Porsche, it's her money, do you understand that? It's not your money. You made $50,000 last year, and you owe over 400,000 in restitution. So, even if you did buy her this huge ring, and Anna seemed that she enjoyed the finer things in life too. She enjoyed that as well, and they had that in common. And that I'm not putting her down at all for that. But they both seem to really like the name brands and to be able to act as though they were in the elite rich people. She belonged in that category. I think she earned it. She worked her way. He, on the other hand, to me, should have been a busboy in a restaurant. Just, or maybe he could have been a dishwasher in a restaurant, but apparently he liked to cook and talk, and I think that he just went through life just being, well, he claims that he was abused and by both his mom and dad, but that doesn't make sense because of how him and his mommy are now. And his supposedly when his dad left, that started creating all these problems for him. He was upset. I couldn't understand if his dad ended up leaving his mother and was with a gentleman after her. So there's a lot I have to look at to see. But he even stole from his father. And on top of stealing from his father, he also got into his dad's stuff somehow. I mean, they didn't even see or speak to each other when the father was passed away, but he got into the his dad's stuff and destroyed a will, and then he was acting like he was doing probate, but then the actual will was discovered. So I don't know. See, I've got to do some reading because I'm only getting these bits and pieces. But that is a really interesting thing because of his probation officer taking the stand. It came into court. It is in evidence that one of the appointments he got permission for was, I don't know, Anna had been gone 5 or 6 days, maybe 9, I can't remember, but it was within the first 2 weeks of Anna's disappearance, so he said, and he met with a probate attorney, had a 5-hour window for that. And so you know that people are going to come to the conclusion that he went to find out what he would be getting from Anna, when in fact it was probably from the thing he was doing with his dad. And I don't know, maybe the defense will be able to straighten that out after or in their closing. But I don't think that he thought very hard about the fact that I really and firmly believe that Tipton, his attorney, believed that Brian Walsh was actually going to get on the stand. And the reason I say that is Tipton seems, unfortunately, to be a very good attorney, and I don't think that he would have said all the things he said in his opening if he thought for a second that Brian Walsh was not gonna get on the stand. I think Brian probably was adamant that he would get on the stand and say this because this is what happened, if I can just tell my story, and so I think the attorney went believing that. I don't know why he would believe Brian Walsh, but I'm guessing he did, and I think that he was just taken aback as much as everybody else by Brian saying he was not gonna testify. I could be wrong, but I just, you know, I just have a feeling that when everything he said was in good faith. I think he's a very I think he's a very good attorney. I just hate that he represents the slime bags, you know? But I guess maybe every now and then he'll freeze he'll freeze somebody that deserves it. But yeah, it was that's what they said. The between eight and $12,000. I mean, that, just to dinners. I can't imagine what would eat. Oh, I think I missed that. Did I miss that? Well, I'm sure y'all saw it. I'm just going backwards. But I think he's a con artist. I think he's a con artist. I think that instead of using any ability that he may have been given in life, he just chose to refine all the bad traits one may have, and that's how he went with it. So I'm not really sure. Hey, Mother of Vincent LePew, how are you doing? Oh, sugar, I just rattled like normal. I didn't even, I just got on here and just talking and having my coffee. So, but that's what I like, right? I like to get on here and just sound like a bumbling idiot. So we're good. I hope you're doing well. I'm fixing to get off actually shortly because it's almost 1:30, and we don't have the great grandbaby tomorrow. Friday's no great grandbaby. So, um, and Mother Vincent LePew, my friend in real life, happens to be on here, and she is ice cream for buttercream. She has been my neighbor for many, many, many years, and tomorrow she is her house will be sold to someone else, and she will be closing on a house in a different area, and I'm going to miss her a bunch. But we do text quite frequently. She works, and I message about trials, and then if she's really busy, I'll tell her, well, what you really gotta watch. If you don't have time to watch all of it, at least watch this. So, but she'll still be my friend. It just a little bit further down the road. I'll have to actually spend time and go visit with her instead of just text when she moves. Y'all are just too cute. Oh, I am not. I just sit in my garage too much because I'm still smoking. But anyway, I don't understand why Brian Walsh didn't just well, I guess I do because honest friend said he doesn't take responsibility for anything. So why would he take responsibility for this? But is he really that twisted that he thinks he's going to get away with this? I mean, does anybody honestly think that he thinks he's not going to be convicted of murder? I don't see that. I just don't see that. His Google searches, his behavior, and I mean, all the tools, all the buckets, all the gear, it's the most disgusting thing in the world, and then you're trying to say that you did all that because your spouse passed in their sleep. I don't know anybody that would even I mean, anybody on the jury has to be going, I just don't get it. I just don't get it, you know? Even if you were to try to give the benefit of the doubt to he's a monster, let's just face it, he's a monster, so even if you tried to give the monster the benefit of the doubt, I would expect to see Googles of why could a woman 39 not wake up or, um, those things instead of how to dispose of a body, how to get rid of DNA off knife. And oddly enough, that knife that was above the refrigerator in that cabinet where everybody knows it didn't go, um, I think he was probably afraid that he wouldn't be able to get his DNA off of it no matter how he cleaned it. He didn't realize that, yeah, I think he pretty much took it back to the beginning of time when it came to taking all that stuff off because you can only do so much with chemicals. And he did a very thorough cleaning job, it appears. But are you guys, if you hadn't heard this one, this is good. So the landlord of the house that was rented in his mother's name, and his mother paid the $5,000 a month rent. See, that's the other thing. If your mother is paying $5,000 a month to rent your home for you, and you're going to brag and brag about how well off you are and how it's not going to hurt you at all to pay this half a million dollars in restitution, yet you can claim that you're buying your wife a Porsche and that you just bought her this huge diamond ring. It wasn't his money. He seems to not realize that when your mama is paying $5,000 for you to live where you live, and then for the attorney to have gone, "Oh, that's what grandmothers do." And I'm sitting here going, "Huh, oh, not on your life." I mean, I'll do anything in the world to help my children and my grandchildren, anything at all. But if I'm paying for your rent, which it would be a whole lot less than $5,000 a month. Matter of fact, you'd probably be living in my garage. That'd be about as far as I could get you because I'm pretty packed out right now. But then you go out and you buy your wife or your spouse a ring in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. You'd be writing your own check for rent next month, and then you'd start paying me back. And if you thought you were gonna buy a Porsche, we'd be having war. I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing in the world, in my opinion, is, his spending her money. You are so sweet, Duck Duck, you really are. So, that but good night. You sleep well. The other thing, I'm glad I got to see you. Have a Merry Christmas. I'm sure I'll see you again, but just in case I don't. But the interesting thing about the house is the landlord is in a lawsuit with the mother. In a lawsuit with Brian's mother because of the destruction of the house and because of the fact that, when there's a major crime that happens in a house, it becomes hard to sell. Uh, it's no longer going to be as valuable when you rent it, so you have some issues. So that was pretty interesting to me, and I believe she actually lost because she kept messing around, and, I guess she wasn't in Beverly Canone's court because it finally was a default judgment because they just weren't doing what they were supposed to do. So, to me, that was really interesting. I think it was Em Emily D. Baker that looked into that. So I was gonna read about it more. But like I said, my granddaughter, it was not planned, for well, I'm not watching well, I guess I do. My daughter is watching my granddaughter's baby. That's her niece. She's watching her niece's baby. However, that means that when she goes to pick up her children, Nana has the baby. Or if there's any issue, then Nana has the baby. And that just all started last week. And we only had like maybe a week's notice that she needed help with that. So um, I just go back in my mind and it's like now I'm just a mess everywhere. But I didn't want to forget what I had to say. And I thought I would come on and rattle it to you guys before I crash, which I'm fixing to do because I'm whooped after the last 2 days. I'm tired. So I am going to bid y'all a good night, and I will try my best to do a video tomorrow because, well, I'm hoping there's a lot to say, and I'm hoping we have a very fast guilty verdict. Um, Brian Walsh has wanted to stay out of prison for a while, and I hope he doesn't get to go to no federal prison. I want him in the Yucco prisons. So hopefully that happens because we all know he didn't want to go to federal prison with his fraud. And once he's found guilty, he's not going to be getting any money from Anna. So that would be really good. Bye. You have a good day. You probably should stop by tomorrow with some photos of the new house, and to see if I'm crying still. No, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. So I will see you later. And I'm glad you get to catch me live too. That's just too cool. It's embarrassing, but it's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight. I know. My thumb, Mother of Vincent LePew, thank you, is I just keep a little thing on it so I don't if I hit it, it doesn't hurt too bad. And the doctor that I went to see is he's going to do surgery on it, which it only takes less than 5 minutes, he said, but I can't get it done until February because he's booked through to February. So I'll just have to wait until that, and I it just doesn't work. My finger doesn't work, so I just try not to hit it, but it's a lot better than it was originally. I just keep it so it doesn't get stuck on anything else. Hey, Mother Vincent LePew, I don't think you were here, but Ice Cream for Buttercream is actually she has a YouTube channel and she does baking and cooking. And then she's got another one, but I can't remember the name, like 50% figured out or um but you can find her if you go to that and let me tell you, she's got some delicious recipes. I know that because she brings them over and we eat it. Try not to buy too many sweets because I don't wanna get too chunky monkey, but, she offers up the sweets, and we're like, "Yeah, bring it over." So, anyway, listen, I will try my best, to do a video tomorrow night, a little bit more planned. Maybe I'll schedule it ahead of time. Lately, it's been kinda hard to do. Sundays, I think, would be the best day for me to do a live and then just post on other days, and I'm slowly getting there, but I've still got a lot of wrapping to do, and I've got sewing projects that I've got to finish. So, we'll see how it does. Oh, I tell you what, you will love her recipes. You really will. So I appreciate y'all stopping by, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your night or day, whichever where you are. And I will be back soon to give you some more opinions because I expect um, tomorrow should be rather enlightening. I mean, today was enlightening, and tomorrow should be, and I probably will have a little bit more information in my noggin. Today, the information that I was able to get was it was between all the busy stuff going on, and I just listened in my hearing aids in um, my ear to hear as much as I could. So I'm gonna say good night, and I will see y'all later. Y'all take care and be safe, okay? Good night.